One thing that is always on people's mind when they consider moving to a city is whether or not they can truly afford to live in that city or state. Well, lucky for you, today we are going to be discussing the cost of living in West Bloomfield, Michigan, to help you make a better informed decision whether you can truly afford to live in the city or not. What's up? My name is Ahmed Zamzam. I'm a local realtor based out of West Bloomfield, Michigan, and I help people achieve their home buying and selling goals using modern strategies. So if you like help buying or selling a home in the state of Michigan, don't hesitate to reach out. All my contact information will be down below in the description. Let's go and get started by talking about the housing market in West Bloomfield. To start off, the median home price in West Bloomfield is around $450,000, and you've got styles of homes such as ranch, colonial, multi-million-dollar mansions. You truly have any kind of home that you desire in West Bloomfield. And we do also have townhouses and condos that could start from anywhere between $250,000 and up, can get you a pretty good condo in West Bloomfield. Now, obviously, when it comes down to price, there are so many factors that play a role in the housing price, such as school districts, amenities in the area, location, size. There are so many things that play a factor in determining the actual price of a home. But again, there's so many housing options in West Bloomfield, and there are definitely affordable housing options here in the city, as well as expensive or more higher end housing options in the city. Now, there are also a lot of properties for rent in West Bloomfield, but you can expect to pay at least $2,000 a month if you like a nice, decent home. I haven't really been seeing anything less than $2,000 a month. I'm actually seeing them at least even $2,100 a month, but I mean 2,000. But if you do want a good place to rent in West Bloomfield, you're probably gonna have to come up with at least $2,000 a month, unless you can find some sort of apartment, or not really apartment, a condo that could be cheaper. But even then, majority of them are at around $2,000 a month or higher. So you can, and again, depending on the school district. So if you're to look at the Birmingham School District, which is more the outskirts of West Bloomfield, then you could be looking at a possible $3,000 per month rental. Now, if you're looking to buy a home in West Bloomfield, you need to be mindful of the current market. So in West Bloomfield, for the last couple of years, there's been a very competitive market where buyers basically have to rush to every single house that they see once it comes on the market. You can't take your time. You can't, go ahead and push it off to later. You need to go ahead and view these homes once they come on the market if you do truly want to buy a home. I've been seeing a lot of buyers in West Bloomfield overpaying for houses and just having to outbid everyone because it's a very limited inventory in West Bloomfield. Now, I have also been seeing houses that sit on the market for 40, 50, 60 days, and that doesn't mean that a house has something wrong with it. Rather, maybe the agent isn't really doing their job. So you can have an issue with price, you can have an issue with marketing, but just because a home sits on the market doesn't mean that it's a bad house or that it has an issue with inspection or something. But again, every single house in West Bloomfield is typically flying off the shelves right now because it's a very competitive market. So definitely keep that in mind if you are looking to buy. If you are going to be buying a home in West Bloomfield, you obviously have to be able to afford the property taxes. Now, the property taxes that the sellers are currently paying is not what you're going to be paying. Whenever you buy a home, the tax is going to increase. So the way that you can figure that out so you are more prepared prior to moving in is that typically it goes based off the assessed value or the taxable value, which I'm not a tax expert. I'm not part of the IRS. I don't know anything about taxes to the extent where I can really discuss it. I'm not certified. I'm not certified CPA or anything. But I will tell you what I do know, which in Michigan, or really I believe anywhere, it's off the assessed value or something else, which is the taxable value. But the assessed value, how you can calculate this so you can get a better idea of what your taxes will look like, is that you can go to the Oakland County website and look up the tax calculator, or even go to the West Bloomfield Township website, and they'll give you a better understanding of the property taxes in the city. But the way that you can get a better idea is if you go to the Oakland County website, to the tax calculator, there's going to be a section that asks for an SEV. Now, how do you calculate the SEV? Well, the SEV, or the assessed value, is basically 50% of the purchase price. So let's say you buy a house for $500,000. Your SEV is going to be $250,000. Just a rough number. Just throwing it out there just for an example. All right. Now, when you go ahead and you go to the Oakland County website, what I like about this is that it's actually going to ask you for the school district that you're in. So you're going to say that you are looking for a house in West Bloomfield. You have an SEV of $500,000, and then it's going to ask you for the school district, because every school district is charged differently. So if you're looking to move into a home that's in the Birmingham School District, it may get taxed higher than a school in the Bloomfield Hills School District or the West Bloomfield School District. I believe that even like the Walled Lake School District and the Pontiac School Districts are the two cheapest in the city. So you go ahead, you select your school district, and that's going to give you a general idea of what your taxes are going to be. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the utilities in West Bloomfield. So I would personally set aside around 800 to 1,000 bucks a month just to delegate it to utility expenses. And the reason for that is because every month may be a little bit different in terms of your usage or your utility spend. Now, obviously, when you have a bigger home, you're gonna have to set aside more money. And if you have a smaller home, you're gonna have a smaller bill. But let's say you're running like the AC during the spring and summertime more than usual. Let's say you have a week or two of just extreme heat. Well, then your bill is gonna come in higher than what you currently or what it used to be. So I would go ahead and set aside and have a cushion in that utility bill to where you can basically have the money set aside to where you can afford to pay for that utility. Now, for the first couple of months, it's just going to be you figuring out how much your utilities exactly are, because there's no true way to really figure that out unless you speak to the seller and kind of get an idea of what they were paying. That way you can have a better understanding of what you can expect to pay when you do move into the house. Otherwise, you do have to kind of experiment for the first couple months and just get a better idea of what your utilities are going to be looking like. Now, let's go and talk about the groceries or the grocery expenses that you can expect in West Bloomfield. So obviously, again, this does depend on how much you buy, how big of a family you have, and what staples you guys have in your household. So personally, I would say that you're probably going to spend around $600 to $800 a month in groceries. And we're just talking, just regular stuff, buying butter, bread, any meats that you may go buy. All this kind of stuff is just going to add up to around $600 to $800 a month. But again, this just fluctuates between family to family. But this is what is typically I'm seeing as the average in the city. And again, it all depends on your family size. I'm personally in a family of 5, and it does depend on just your shopping habits, the amount of food that you eat, how much you guys make. Now, if you are going to go dine out with, the family at a mid-range restaurant, you're probably going to be looking at $20 to $40 per person. So this is a pretty good option. It's not too expensive. It's not, too cheap. I mean, you're going to get what you pay for, but you can expect to pay $20 to $40 per person. So if you have a family of 5 and you're paying $20 each, then you're probably going to be looking at around $100 bill. And then you just have to kind of tip the waiter. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to discuss is something that a lot of people fail to discuss fail to really think about when they're moving to a city, which is the gas price in the area. So as of August 2023, gas prices in West Bloomfield is ranging around $3.50 to $3.79. So this is something to really consider if you do drive a lot. And let's say you want to live in West Bloomfield, let's say you live in like Ann Arbor. Can you afford to constantly get gas to go from West Bloomfield to Ann Arbor, which is almost a 45-minute to an hour drive away? So this is something to consider, and just keep in the back of your head when you do decide to move to a city. That way you are not going to exceed your monthly budget. Because I know that there are cities such as Dearborn where there are gas prices that are at $3.10, $3.15, $3.25. It just depends. Me personally, I think West Bloomfield is too expensive, so I go to Farmington Hills and get gas from there. But everyone just has their preference. I'm always in Farmington Hills. I'm a realtor. I drive a lot. So to me, it doesn't matter, and I'm always in the city, so I just go there. But I do live in West Bloomfield. So if you're like me and you like to work out, then you do want to look into the gym membership options in West Bloomfield. This is something that I do want to discuss for anyone who doesn't know what to expect of a gym membership. It's pretty average. I view it as normal, but you do have the general Planet Fitness that you can find almost in every city. And we do also have gyms such as Powerhouse Gym and other smaller gyms in West Bloomfield. Me personally, I go to Powerhouse Gym. They have memberships that can be as low as $35 a month up to $50 a month. Just depends on commitments and everything as of August 2023. So if you do like to stay fit, you do like to stay active, you can expect to pay anywhere from $30 to $60 a month. Or you can go to Planet Fitness and spend like $10 a month. I just discussed, I do believe that West Bloomfield has a very affordable cost of living. It's not too expensive, it's not too low, it's just in the middle. And I feel like if you do make anywhere from $65,000 and up, you can comfortably live in West Bloomfield. Now, granted, if you are on the lower scale of income, there's nothing wrong with that, but you may have to adjust your monthly spending habits if you do have a bad issue with that. Or if you have a bigger family, you may need to adjust how you guys are spending money so you can comfortably afford to live in the city. But overall, when you're factoring in your monthly mortgage payment, your expenses, your utility bills, all that stuff, you can definitely live in the city, and you can just take steps to afford to live in here. So if you have a house that is, let's say, 3,500 to 4,000 square foot, maybe if you're not sitting in the room, turn off the lights. If the house is fine, turn off the AC or turn off the heat. There are things that you can do to afford to live in the city, and there's definitely a very good cost of living here. Groceries are cheap, and everything is just blends well together. So that's it for today's video. And if you guys do want to learn more about living in West Bloomfield and want me to go more in depth with you regarding this, go ahead and feel free to reach out to me. Again, all my contact information will be down below in the description, and I look forward to talking to you guys later.